Nickmercs addresses his most recent controversial tweet.
My wife and I just had a baby. Brand new father.
Congrats, man. That's nice.
You know, we seen these kinds of videos. It's sad.
Let me look at the chat.
You know, but her and I agree that we want to be the ones to talk to our kid about things like that. I'm trying to keep it really simple, just so we don't have to get too crazy about it, because there's nothing to get crazy about. It's just it really is.
I know what happened.
I think I just have a bigger perspective on this now, being a parent, than I did maybe 2 months ago.
Wait, what did you even tweet? I don't get it. Huh? This happened 4 blocks away from an Overwatch League apartment. Americans are in a sad place. Let people love who they love and live your live on life, okay? It says anti-LGBT protest attack pro-LGBT demonstrator outside of Glendale. See a school board meeting. Bro, they still live in that shithole? School board, sorry, my bad. The school board is voting on June as Pride Month. Huh? Chat, my brain is frozen today. I don't even know what the fuck I'm reading. So there's a brawl going on, okay. Wait, don't show this? Why not? I mean, it's a protest, it is what it is. And he says that they should leave children alone. Okay. I don't even know what the fuck. Chat. Yes, I don't even know the implications of the main tweet, off tweet. I don't really understand. Who is this day, and what terrible act is everyone afraid of? I think, hope the goal is, most of them, is to reduce acceptance or moving stigma feeling different. Yeah, I don't really have a take because I don't really understand it, to be honest. So what do you say about that? What the fuck?
My wife and I just had a baby.
Okay.
Brand new father. You know, we seen these kinds of videos. It's sad, you know. But her and I agree that we want to be the ones to talk to our kid about things like that.
But things like what?
I'm trying to keep it really simple, just so we don't have to get too crazy about it, because there's nothing to get crazy about. It's just it really is that simple. I think I just have a bigger perspective.
Okay, chat, guys, I'm paying attention, but this is very complicated. Okay. If you talk about the absolute term and significance of sexuality, then I kind of have to agree with that. I feel like the way that sexuality itself, guys, usually the way it works, that I know of,
XQC
is that they usually start teaching and talking about like sex stuff later on in school, right? So that the parents can teach their kids about it before the school and introduce it themselves, because it's a pretty sensitive topic. Okay, that's how it was for me, and how I've known about it. Is that they teach it at an age that isn't child but isn't adult, a little bit in between somewhere, so that if as a parent you want to do it better or do it your way, you can, right? And then it gives you kind of like the choice of how you want to do it, right? So that's just purely sexuality, right? But I don't know what are the implications. Maybe he's misunderstanding like the movement or whatever, or the month. Because if it's purely about sexuality, I think I agree. I understand that kids can know at a young age, and I get that, and I understand that.
44 months. Can I get a troll face in chat? Troll face.
In my opinion, I don't know if it's.
I didn't even sub. Why is this doing?
All right, listen. All right, I'm gonna say it how I think, and I hope I don't get canceled for having an opinion. Okay. I think that talking and elaborating about sexual stuff at a very, very young age isn't that great. It's just not. Okay? But I don't know what if it has to do with the movement or the month. I think that the Pride Month and all that stuff isn't the same as sex ed, but sometimes things get intertwined, and if that's what it's about, then I agree. If not, I don't fully agree.
Perspective on this now, being a parent, than I did maybe 2 months ago. So, you know, the video bothered me, right? And that's I just don't think it's any place for a teacher or a school. I don't think it's the place to speak about things like that. And it's not that I think that it shouldn't be spoken about.
He's an anti-vax piece of shit, blah blah, and then don't believe words is about one to teach his own kid. I think you're not being really you're not really giving people a chance if you're not gonna have them have their own take if they're anti-vax or whatever. I think that's kind of like I think that's pretty short-sighted. But I think if it's purely about the sexual aspect, I agree. If it's about just pride overall, then I think I'm not trying to be controversial here, chat. I'm not trying to be weird, okay? I genuinely am not, okay? I've always said it.
52 months Jagacked.
I think that things like making overall, I've always said that things like
XQCL.
Big movements that are involved with politics and other stuff, and politics directly, especially American politics or whatever, and then
I think the idea
political inclinations, and I think all that shit shouldn't be put on kids ever. I think ever, such as same as religion. Sorry to say it, that's just my thought. I think you want to have your child be able to grow to a point where they can make decisions and make rational thoughts with put all the components, take all the Lego blocks and say, with these 5 blocks, do I make a pyramid? Do I make a block? Do I make a square? And they can do their own thing. They can make their own decisions. But whenever you brick it into them really young, then how do you know if that's what they actually want? You don't know what they want because they're not old enough to have all the components to make these decisions. So why do you take it for them? And why do you make it spread that and be an advocate for things they don't even understand? It's like if you make your kid wear a vote for this guy t-shirt. They don't even know what that even comprises of. They don't even know who that person is or stands for. They don't even know what inclination that all that is. So why you make them spread that? Like I don't get that. I don't.
He can sit back in his basement and watch the X-Files reruns like the cowardly little man he is.
Look, Jack,
where are some of them?
Doesn't know shit about shit. This guy couldn't even find Uranus with both hands, let alone defend our planet from aliens. And as for you, trailer trash, whatever the fuck, you think you're so fucking clever making fun of Pocahontas? Let me tell you something, asshole. The only crack baby around here is you, with your head stuck so far up your own ass that you're shitting out diamonds. You want to talk about walls? How about we build a wall around your trailer park to keep your inbred ass from infecting the rest of the world? Huh? And to all the rest of you haters in the chat, God love you, that you can all go fuck yourselves with a cactus. Like dark random time, bitches. Get out of my way.
With Stark Brandon. Guys, I wanted to get educated about something that I was maybe wrong about earlier. Because chat, guys, if I had the same take, maybe I'm gonna get canceled because it's stupid. Yo, what up, man?
What's happening? How's Texas?
Pretty bad. I mean, it was fantastic. Now it's pretty bad, but I'm not gonna talk about that. No, I'm not gonna be able to do some drama bait. I'm not doing that. I already did.
I wasn't trying to bait you into drama at all. I was just like asking a normal question. Like it wasn't like that.
Oh, okay, no,
it's like how's the weather? You know, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, it makes sense. You're right. Okay, so basically, okay, listen.
So what's up? What are you confused about?
All right, listen. Basically, there was like the Nickmercs clip, right?
Yeah.
Some people said good things, some people said bad take. It wasn't even a take, to be honest. It actually wasn't. I was just more trying to inquire, right, about about how that works. Like, why is it bad or whatever, you know?
Yeah. I think people. This is a very polarizing subject, especially at a time when, like, you know, there's fucking insane legislation being written in like every fucking state legislature in the country. So people get very heated about it when something even signals like right-wing messaging. You know what I mean? When someone thinks like, oh, this person is even saying like, I want to be the one who's educating my children. That can mean anything from like, oh, I don't have an issue with like LGBT, you know, concepts being taught to children at an early age or whatever. But I also want to be the one that like explains it to them, all the way to like, my child saw a fucking binky with a rainbow at Target and now he's gonna be gay. Like, fuck you. You know what I mean?
Wait, what's a
broad range?
What's a binky?
When will Hassan make his own content and stop pretending to know the answer to all
the
problems? Lol.
This is a funny way to say pacifier. The binky. Anyway, so that's the reason why people immediately and understandably get very passionate about it, because the thing that Nickmercs was responding to was like these group of like right-wing weirdos that went to Glendale to protest this school, saying like that they were gonna do Pride Month at school, and then fights broke out, and a lot of the dudes that like actually attended this fucking counter protest, like the anti-LGBT side, weren't even from the school district. Half of them, most of them didn't even have fucking kids. You know what I mean? Like, they're like known people in Los Angeles, in the greater like Southern California area, that go to schools and do this almost for a living. Some of them are literal Nazis. Some of them are like fucking Proud Boys and shit, right? And they're there to like fuck shit up. They're right wingers, and they're like, yeah, like we think that you shouldn't. A school should not actually even acknowledge that like children can be gay. You know what I mean? Or any acknowledgement of kids being gay or queer is like immediately gross and morally degenerate, because like they often will just say that immediately signals gay sex. You know what I mean? They like sexualize a mode of existence.
Okay.
When it's not.
Okay. So my understanding was that basically, I just think sometimes like generally, okay. I just thought.
Just kidding.
Overall, sexuality is not really like sometimes too young. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the like, because there's people that are much more knowledgeable than me on this as far as like children's education, but I don't know what age like you start teaching kids sex ed. I was just talking about this, but as far as like gay people existing, you know, it's the moment that you tell your child that, you know, there's a mom and a dad, is it perfectly valid to also teach them that there are dads and moms and moms. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, I think if it's like all about that, sure, right? Like, bro, I have no dog in this fight. Like, people will say, "Oh, dude, what is this guy? He doesn't have children." Like, what? Like, I'm just inquiring about the actual take that he had. I thought he said, it was mostly about like what they were teaching the kids, whether he wants to do it himself or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But that's mostly about sexuality itself, though. No, not about like sexual preference or like just the topic of sexuality itself.
So because like that's why we go back to what I said, because it's so broad, people basically in their minds, depending on like what kind of content that they're consuming, make up the worst assumptions. And the right does this all the fucking time. Like right-wing podcasters and like commentators will regularly talk about it, like, oh, they're teaching your 4-year-old butt sex at school, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're really gross about it, basically. So for that reason, like, a lot of people get lost in the sauce when they see that misinformation, and everyone wants to protect their kids. They're like, oh fuck, like they're teaching them that, like that's fucked up, that's insane, like we need to stop this immediately. And then they have,
okay,
then they move along with that irrational thought when that's not the case. Do you
think that the things being taught are like refined enough where it touches the right subjects and not the wrong one? And it's like, because I feel like if something bad, one small bad thing is packaged with all the other good things, I still think it probably needs to it's probably justifiable that to want to do it better. Like,
no, I think it's refined because this is like an age appropriate and not age appropriate in the sense that like some parents might disagree with it, but even then, because of that reason, they have like sheets that they have like approval slips that parents sign regardless. Okay, but it's usually appropriate by people that develop these packages that know a lot better about like what to teach children at what age. You know what I mean? Like they know what the best way and the best things to communicate to children is.
Yeah, I don't know much about education and these things, so it's kind of hard to have like to find an equivalent example of that and how it's been done. I know some people were like equating it to like, oh, what about then if we did about religion, or what did about politics, and then things get kind of blurry. So I don't think these are like one-to-one good examples,
Yeah, I mean, it's not like religion or politics. Well, the kids get taught about religion at an early age, super early age anyway.
Yep.
But as far as like politics goes, it's not the same because like, even though that can also be taught in schools in some ways, oftentimes is, but it's just like. Usually it's basically gay people exist, like the way I just described it to you. And
oh yeah, that's fine. If it's all about 100%, fuck all that. Yeah, that's fine.
Like it's more so like gay people exist, and there should be acceptance towards gay people. Like you shouldn't fucking like gay people, trans people exist in society, and you should not bully them. And it's perfectly normal and valid to feel the way that you do. A lot of people will turn around and like take this away, even though it's like basic biology, and they'll make it political. They want to make it political. They'll say like, no, your existence is political, and it's not. It's just how it is. That makes sense?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Like nobody ever talks about
the
content
so
the kids are already
that part
consuming.
is that part's often lost in the sauce, and like conservatives just like lie straight up regularly about like what children are being taught at schools, and
August 12th,
it has created the space where like someone like Nickmercs who
August 12th,
gets to see that kind of commentary regularly will start developing ideas and start believing in it, because why the fuck wouldn't you? You look at something you see online, you don't expect that person, especially if they seemingly come across as like apolitical, or if they come across as like agreeable, you're not expecting them to lie to you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, you're not expecting them to deliberately lie to you.
Yeah, actually that makes sense. Yeah.
So you see that, and you start developing these opinions, and you start thinking that like maybe they're teaching your children, weird ass shit when they're in school, when they're young, and that's not the case. They're just teaching them, age appropriate things. You might consider that to be inappropriate, but at least like, people who have studied this and people who understand childhood development and what to teach children have figured out that this is the best age to teach them certain concepts.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, yeah, I think that makes more sense overall. I've always had the problem, in my thoughts as a general concept, of like the teaching of like the actual sexuality part of it too early. Even before LGBTQ stuff was less like
was less what?
Less like out there. Yeah, exactly, and less out there, because bro, and I'm 27. Like back at my age, bro, we didn't talk about this shit like ever at all.
Yeah. Well,
schools anyway.
It's definitely a good thing. The real reason why people want to teach this is because, like, as you and I agree, gay people exist, trans people exist, right? So when you learn about them existing at an early age, you don't develop false notions about their existence. And a lot of parents that are right-wing want to shelter their children from the existence of such things because they want them to think like, oh, this is not normal, or they don't want your teacher to say it's perfectly normal to have two dads because they, as parents, don't think that it's normal. I don't even think Nickmercs is like that. I don't even think that Nickmercs is like, oh yeah, it's fucked up to be gay. I want my children to know that it's like fucked up to be gay. I don't even think he believes in that. I think he probably is lost in the sauce from what he has seen from right-wing content creators and shit that pop off on TikTok, just like every other fucking boomer out there.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So sometimes like that angle does make sense though. That makes more sense. If you teach somebody the existence of something, then they'll be like less like, I guess like afraid of it or untrusting of it and less judgmental of it. I think that definitely makes more sense as a broad.
And for kids also who are gay or kids who are trans, for example, like kids who are queer, right, that aren't like heterosexual, when they see that, they're like, oh, it's not weird that I feel the way that I do. Does that make sense? And that is absolutely what they want to stop.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense, actually. Yeah, you don't feel like you're odd. So let's say things are standardized in a way, and they look like at a Sears catalog, and they see like a bulge. They're not like, wait, I'm fucking weird for like thinking this is good or something like that, you know? Right?
Yeah, and like the example I always use is this one, right? Like in Florida, they have like a "Don't Say Gay" bill.
What is that? What is that?
So originally it was like no mentions of like sexuality at all from K through 12, and then now it's like all the way up to the K through 12, no mention of sexuality. Or it was originally supposed to be no mentions of sexuality, sex ed, anything like that from K through 3, and now it's like K through 12.
Wait, what's K to what? I don't know what it means.
Kindergarten to 3rd grade.
Okay.
So
how is this chat so far
it was supposed to like stop teachers, and it has actually stopped teachers from even showcasing that they might be gay. You know what I mean? It's like very vague and generalized. And basically, no one is going to have an issue with like a pregnant kindergarten teacher, right? Like when you see when you have a kindergarten teacher that's pregnant, you're not going to go, oh, that means like someone came inside of her. That's gross. What the fuck? That person should not be teaching children. But when you have a gay teacher, all of a sudden, it's out of the norm because it's not heteronormative. So then all of a sudden that's an issue. So it's a sneaky way to basically say, oh, we're only going to stop, queer teachers and queer concepts from being discussed.
Okay.
And not necessarily.
Yep.
And
that makes sense. Yeah, I understand that. I'll always say yep when I understand something. By the way,
because you never sexualize. Like when you see like a mom and a dad walking down the street holding hands, you don't
Makes
immediately
sense.
think they're fucking. They're gonna fuck. But when you see two gay guys, like a lot of right-wingers or people who are like uninitiated, they'll look at that and go, "Oh, that's gay sex. That's gross. Like, why are you fucking doing that in public?"
Okay, yeah, I mean, as a child, you see like when you don't know about sexuality, you see two adults, whatever, and you're just thinking like, when you start developing, it's like, oh, this is like kissing or whatever, and I think that applies to anybody. Like, two guys can kiss, two girls can kiss, right? You don't think about like the actual sexual part of it until you learn that.
Because like sexuality isn't just about like fucking, you know what I mean? Attraction is not. Attraction is way more complicated than that.
Don't buy into the libtard.
And it can be left at like, just being attracted to a sex rather than immediately going to like, or being, affectionate towards a sex instead of literally making the assumption and adding the puzzle piece that like they're fucking. You're teaching how to do gay sex.
So that's pretty much what like whenever they're. That's what they're saying pretty much. To scare people off, they're saying that's what that's what they're teaching and or whatever. They're teaching like the sex part of it.
Yeah.
To try to fit the narrative. Okay. Yeah. I don't even know since I don't know. Okay, listen. I've had a little bit of class of psychology, a little bit. Okay. I know a little bit about like child development or whatever. I don't know when is the acceptable time to teach or at least introduce some sort of sexuality in education or yeah. I don't even know. I don't even know. Like. I would, yeah, I don't know.
I think like we said, it's dependent on what we're talking about. If it's sex ed, then it's a little bit older. I think it's dependent on
definitely.
whatever the school system is. But if it's just like LGBT existence, if you're teaching children that have like 2 moms and 2 dads sometimes, then that can be taught as early as when children understand what a mom and a dad is. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. This apparently, there's a book called The Great Big Book of Families with teacher Helena, and that apparently was like controversial to conservatives when kindergartners were learning about this stuff. And if you look at the book, it's like ridiculous. There's nothing sexual in it whatsoever. It's just like it's exactly the concepts that I just mentioned. I linked it to you if you want to watch it on YouTube. It's like a very short book. It's like 5 minutes long. You can browse through it.
Okay, yeah. Okay, do the last sentence. Last sentence. I didn't hear it right there. Do the last sentence you just said it, because the book.
I said I linked you a book that right wingers thought was controversial. That is like taught to children in the I think the Los Angeles Unified School District.
Oh yeah. Oh, and they thought that was like too far or like crazy or something.
Yeah, it's shit like this. If you can find out on your own what kind of age appropriate sex ed exists for children, or even like what they mean by like LGBTQ books.
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, yeah, I have one more question then. This is a bit kind of the same topic, but not really.
What's up? Say that again.
I have another topic. Listen. This might sound degen. I am your classic like Twitter is my news type guy. Okay, I'll watch the news a little bit here and there. I try to get like informed about my world. But at the same time, like I will literally consume dog shit Twitter for you page. Okay, which is degen. And that tends to be like sometimes like right-wing ideologies, quite literally. Like I am fed right-wing dog shit, and it says the dumbest shit of all time.
No, I know. It's really fucked up. It's gotten way worse since the Elon takeover too. There's like every time I'm on my fucking For You page, it's like woman fucking punches. It's like Fight Haven videos.
Yeah, but
woman punches a guy, and then fucking the guy claps back, and then
yeah.
Like, psychotic right wing shit.
But you know what? I don't mind it that much because sometimes I think I get somewhat of a different viewpoint, and I can understand like both sides, you know. So at least I'm not fed one-sided dog shit. I kind of get both. Yeah, I get right-wing dog shit at the same time. For people that are right-wing, then they will probably assume that most things that other people would be left-wing dog shit, right?
Listen, I consume more right-wing content than I consume left-wing content. Okay, like that's all I do. If you ever watch me, most people don't even realize this. They're like, oh, someone wants to have a fucking hug box or whatever, an echo chamber. But like, I literally spend most of my time watching and trying to understand what right-wingers are saying. If you've ever fucking been in this broadcast for even a brief moment, you know that. Because I need to know what they're thinking. I need to know how they're thinking. I need to know where this is coming from. But there's a difference between like looking at that, consuming it, and then also believing some of the more psychotic shit that they are saying. You know
yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it's interesting to have different viewpoints. Like I don't want to be a one-sided Andy who just gets fed dog and just says, oh yeah, that's all true. Like I think both is fine, and it also widens your area of what people think overall. But so one thing that keeps popping up on my feed, even today or the day before that, is like gender affirming surgery type stuff.
Yeah, that stuff is like, so a lot of that stuff is just straight up insane. Conservatives have made it their main their main talking point to like basically stop trans people any way, shape, or form they can. They will straight up lie and say like, oh, children are getting fucking mutilated. They'll straight up do this thing where they'll explain the gruesome process of a surgery to make it seem like it's like unique to like whatever kind of like top surgery or bottom surgery that like trans people get, trans adults get, by the way. No one under the age of 18 is getting any kind of like
You know what? If you didn't tell me that, I didn't know. Bro, I thought it was the opposite. I thought they were doing that. Because I'm fed so much dog shit on Twitter. I thought this was happening.
No, if a child is getting some kind of irreversible surgery,
that's kind of cooked.
It's usually an extreme edge case, and it's not fucking real. It is not something that is like done all the fucking time. Children that get plastic surgeries with parental consent happens all the fucking time when it comes to like kids getting plastic surgery for their sweet 16s, kids getting fucking nose surgeries, kids getting literally fucking fake tits at the age of 16. That stuff is seen as like perfectly normal and gender affirming, but it's gender affirming in the right direction because most people think that that is like perfectly right. You and I might have a disagreement on that, by the way.
Why?
I don't think it's a great thing that kids are getting surgery early on. I don't.
I didn't say that either. The fuck?
No. I'm saying you and I might have a disagreement than like the broader public's opinion on that kind of thing.
Okay, well, what's your opinion then?
Well, clearly it's like super fucking normalized. Rhinoplasty and breast augmentation is like literally something that high schoolers get regularly.
Yeah, you shouldn't be getting anything permanent until you can make decisions for yourself. I think. Like a full GG.
People throwing up question marks in your chat are completely oblivious to how commonplace rhinoplasties and breast augmentation is under the age of 18. Like plenty of kids get it at the age of 16, for the record.
Yeah. Then I'm against all that. I'm against the whole thing. I think that's I mean, bro, like I don't know, like.
Yeah. And by the way, I'm not across the board anti all of that either. Like there could be,
most of it
complications. There are plenty of health complications that require you to get surgeries like that. Anyway, my point is conservatives regularly look to numbers like that and make it seem as though it's only fucking kids under the age of 18 are getting top surgery and that's really fucked up. It's like irreversible. It's bullshit. Okay? That is a hyper specific scenario that rarely, like incredibly rarely ever happens. And when it does, it is often done with prior, like an insane amount of consultation.
Okay.
I love people being like, no one says that. And I love people in the chat being like, no, it happens all the time. No, you see one example of it and that is plastered and it's oftentimes like an 18-year-old or whatever, but conservatives just do not care and they lie all the fucking time.
Yeah, because see, I'm even against like getting tattoos when you're under 18 or whatever the fucking age of fucking well, also I truly believe that I think being an adult. So I think some people are adults. Okay, whoa. I'm gonna slow down here because people are gonna take this the wrong way. Okay, when I took my driving test a long time ago, the teacher asked, "When are you an adult?" And people said 21, 20, 18. Most people said 18 because it's legal age. And the guy replied to me that I think was pretty smart. He said, "You're an adult when you're an adult, right?" Because some people learn about the real world and have a lot of responsibilities and do a lot of adult shit that some people will never do until they're like way older when they're really young, right? And then some people do none of the adult shit, even though they're like 30, like me.
Yeah, people have different levels of different stages of development. Is that what you're saying? Because that's true. Yes, they do.
So like,
yeah, laws are not going to. No law is ever going to be perfect. That's not how.
Yeah,
that works,
yeah. Of course not.
It's just like you try to nail it. You try to min-max it and make sure that like you get the broadest group of people involved. That's like how you're supposed to write laws.
Yeah. You go with the best you can do it.
That. But yes, conservatives will use like edge cases and even add like sprinkle in a lot of misinformation into the conversation, which is why a lot of people in your chat are currently like, you're out of your fucking mind, you're lying about this. I've seen so many photos of like 15-year-olds getting like breast surgery, top surgery, whatever the fuck. Like it'll always be like one fucking person that was going to go and like that underwent like serious psych evaluations, and people who understand the situation a lot better than you and I do decided to make this private medical decision between two parties, oftentimes even three parties within the parental consent as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. See,
but again, I don't even talk about it that much because it's like it's irrelevant. It's so fucking
it's so little. It's like one. It's like
so
one.
And the broad majority is rhinoplasties and corrections of breast asymmetry, breast augmentation, breast reductions, acne and acne scar treatment, even male breast reduction for gynecomastia. These are the things that the overwhelming majority of people that get plastic surgery before the age of 18 are getting.
Yeah, is it because let's say take one of the smaller ones or one of the one just even like tattoos. Like I'm dumb as fuck and I don't trust myself to like make permanent decisions. Even when I'm 37 now, right? So when I think about like people that got tattoos at like 16, I was even more of a fucking bum at 16. I would be mad at my parents and at the world if I, at 20, was like, yo, dude, why do I have this shit? Oh, because my 16-year-old or my 15-year-old dumb self decided to do that. I'd be mad at myself, and I would be very upset. And that would annoy me a lot, you know? And I think there should be, like, safeguards for people not, you know, to...
I agree, which is why there's, like, a tremendous amount of consultation. And like I said, the stuff that I just brought up right here, which make up the overwhelming majority of like plastic surgery that teenagers get before the age of 18 is done on, you know, cisgender heterosexual teenagers.
Yeah,
and it's still done with like a tremendous amount of medical consultation. I am a firm believer in leaving it up to doctors instead of some fucking dumbass right-wing Christian zealot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like the lead doctor, people who like decide to or whatever. Because I feel like overall, some of the doctors are fucking smoking crack. I know my doctor back in Canada, she was smoking actual fucking drugs or something. She was crazy. Anyway, but I get what you mean though. Like overall trusting the science and like professionals that make their jobs to fucking know that shit, you know. Otherwise,
yes, exactly.
otherwise, who do you trust then? Like you go with the best you have, right?
You trust God and you trust the random guy on Twitter that keeps saying like they're cutting fucking children's genitals off or whatever the fuck, which is not happening. That's insane. The genital mutilation that happens in America is systemic, in the Western world especially. It's called circumcision, okay? And that is done without the consent of the parents in some cases even, and they still do it regardless. Okay?
I thought that was like religious or something like that.
I think it has its roots in religion, yes. And as a circed up boy myself, you know.
You tell people what kind of cat you got.
I can't get it back, you know.
Would you?
Remember what they took from us. Would I get it back if I had the opportunity? Yes.
Why?
I would, yeah. I don't know. I feel like people say that it reduces
sensation.
Pleasure. Yeah, reduces sensation. You know.
Well, I mean, that makes sense though, because it's exposed to air and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fuck. There was another topic.
What? Aiden Ross fucking telling me to kill myself?
Well, okay. Well, I'm gonna call. I like to call everybody out. Okay. Listen. I'm not gonna hold my tongue about this. I think both the clip, the tweet, everything's wrong.
He's fucking insane, brother. He's fallen down this like weird rabbit hole of just becoming more and more unhinged for some weird reason. I don't know why. I wish him well though.
Yeah, but at the end you say he's closer to that. Why would you say that?
Oh, first of all, I don't know if you know my perspective on this. I often joke about it, but I think you should have what I call kill yourself tokens. Okay, like you just accrue a number of kill yourself tokens. Every time someone says kill yourself to you, you should be able to just put that in your purse and then turn around and use it against other people sometimes. You know what I mean?
Against them tokens. Or somebody else.
Somebody else, whoever. Because you've
bro, then I'm looking at my Twitter, bro. I have 15,000 of them.
Yeah, no, I know. Same. I have the most amount, right? And I'm sure Aiden has a lot too. Now, of course, I'm fucking joking, but like the reason why I say that is because like everyone sometimes wants to say that, and I don't really care about it that much. Like Aiden saying that to me, I think it's funny. I know why people get very upset about it. Obviously, it's not good for mental health. There's a lot of people who do experience dark thoughts like that. But you know,
No,
I don't
mean,
have a...
to be honest, I just feel like it's the one sentence or one thing you can say, right? If somebody is like on the brim, you don't want it to be that. I feel like that's like a more like, it's almost like a directive of that. And I don't think anybody that's doing some dumb shit or saying the weirdest shit should be subject to that. That's just that's my general. People say, "Oh, you're soft," and I
understand what you're saying.
Care.
What you're saying. I'm just saying that I have a much more, I guess, lighthearted approach as someone who gets it all the fucking time. But you're right. I mean, it is not nice to say it, and I totally understand why it's a violation of terms of service. I think that's good. But yeah, no, I was, I was retaliating from a genuine point of consideration. By the way, like I do think that he's in a bad space mentally.
Okay, that's even worse to be honest. But okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know.
That's actually worse.
I am worried about him. I'm not kidding when I say I am worried about him.
Yeah, all right.
Does that make sense?
No. I feel. Yeah. There's so many. There's only so little that I am like very firm about. There's like 3 or 4 things on the overall the internet or overall speech or social dynamics that I don't like. That's one of them. As well. Like if they might hear it, I'm like nah. I don't care who they are. I don't let it slide.
So, but what do you think about Aiden saying it to me though? If you have that kind of perspective,
well, that's fine. I call him that. It's really bad. I don't like it. I don't want to hear it. People need to stop doing that.
He was also fucking lying and saying that I'm like a groomer or something. Like he was just like fucking saying some unhinged ass like classic right wing shit that he's heard from like older people around him. He's like a little kid, dude. He's a kid brain. You know?
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like. I feel like ever since he like loosened up, he's been doing all of it, and I think just generally overall, I feel like now that a lot of them are saying it, and now that it's like becoming like common thing again, and I think that's just bad. I just don't agree with it that much. I don't want to be slippery slope Andy, but yeah.
I don't think it's slippery slope Andy. I think you're saying if you say it all the fucking time, if you say kill yourself all the fucking time, then your fan base that's very malleable, very impressionable, are going to also start saying it because they think it's cool, or you've greenlit it, and that is a bad thing. That's not a wrong take. That's not even like slippery slope, really. You're right. I think you're objectively correct, which is why I said it's perfectly understandable to have that in the terms of service. I think it's good. It's good to have that in the terms of service. Even if I personally want to say it sometimes, it's better that I hold myself back.
I mean, morally, legally, you don't want anybody to be fucking held legally accountable for that shit. Not the company, anybody. You just want to have anybody fucking doing that shit. Like imagine, like yeah, I'm not even fucking say. Imagine you can see in your head. Yes. Morally, ethically, motherfucking legally, the whole thing. It's like you want people on your platform saying kill yourself, somebody dies. Kill yourself, somebody dies, and people keep doing that shit over and over again. No, you don't want that. That shit's fucking stupid as shit. At one point,
Bruce was a great example, right? Like when he said that, right? Remember when he got banned? Because he said that he got banned, and I was like, listen, I understand when you get mad, you want to say that, but I think it's a perfectly valid ban. The other stuff I didn't agree with, like some of the other bans that Bruce had, I didn't agree with. I was very
we know that
about it. But that one, it makes sense. It's perfectly valid. If you say that to someone, both either in your community or someone that is like, or someone that is a peer, yeah, you're gonna get banned, and that does make sense.
All right, damn, I'm gonna like that is one of your honest takes, and I know your Discord goes hard with that. They go hard with that, like I think there's like a graph or some flyer or some meme on Twitter. I agree with it. It was like it's like him saying a bunch of bullshit, and it's like the guy on a bike with a stick, and he puts it in his wheels, right? And when he falls because he put a stick in his own bike, he says, "Fucking white people." And I was like, I mean, shit. I mean, that's kind of true, to be honest. Like, you know?
Yeah, it's something that we all experience. Like, what do you mean? I just think it is I know that I know that people get fucking so mad. I myself get that mad. But, you know, someone's got to stop me from doing it. And I'm glad that the fucking terms of service exist for that reason. You know what I mean?
All right. Then, okay, then fuck it then. I'll take a battle against you and then I'm going to go. Fuck it then. Since your take hasn't changed and you're still diehard about that. Okay.
All
right, listen.
Let's hear it.
All right. If I make that meme, and instead of saying fucking white people, I put any other ethnicity or cultural reference in there. Now it's a fucking disastrous tweet that'll literally get me fucking clapped on.
Yeah.
So why is that okay?
So, on its face, it seems ridiculous. You're like, what the fuck? There's no difference. But it's actually a very, I mean, there's historical context as to why it is a little bit different when you say white people versus anything else, especially when we're talking about America or Western society in general. That's because whiteness as a concept was socially defined. It's not like an actual race. It's usually just something that people say that they are.
Okay, fair enough.
It changes both throughout history, throughout time, and is entirely dependent on like what country you're in, even in the Western world.
For sure.
People might throw up question marks at me saying this, but like, you can trace your lineage back to, you know, your European ancestors, right? Like I assume, and many people can.
Okay, fair enough.
They can trace their family tree back to that, and a lot of times, like the reason why the whiteness concept is a little bit different in Europe, and a lot of European chatters will be like, I don't understand why Americans are so obsessed with white people. Like I don't fucking get it at all. Is for this reason, because in Europe, people aren't like usually duking it out over being white or being black. They're usually duking it out over ethnic differences, like ethnic identities or nationalities.
For sure.
English people not liking French people, German people not liking anybody, that kind of thing. So in America, it's a melting pot mostly created by white Anglo-Saxon Protestants originally, you know, English people. And that melting pot and the whiteness simply was just a catch-all term for those in power. That's how it's worked historically, right?
Okay.
Those in power. Benjamin Franklin famously considered Germans to not be white. Benjamin Franklin famously said that America should be, a land for white people only. And by white people, and red people, he said as well, to factor in the indigenous population at the time. He said America should be a nation that isn't tarnished by swarthy Germans and swarthy Scandinavians and Italians. Like he considered white people to only mean white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, English, and maybe in some instances French people. Those motherfuckers are white too. Germans are white as fuck. But whiteness as a concept has expanded since then. So now when you look at it with today's lens, you go, what the fuck? Like, yeah, of course German people are white. But there was a time in America where Irish people were also not considered white in the same way that English people were. Scottish people were not considered white. Polish people were not considered white. Jews were not considered white. And not that long ago, Hispanic people were not considered white. But now, all of those groups have been brought under the umbrella of white. Because whiteness in that sense is not about how pale your skin is. Whiteness in that sense, in the political sense, is simply about proximity to the in-group that has the power. Yeah, which is why, shitting on white people, as a white person myself, which by the way, many won't even acknowledge that. People say I'm not white. I do think I'm white, but
yeah.
As a white person myself, I like making fun of white people.
Sure.
Because it's like one of the few areas where you can like very easily make jokes. It's like doing straight pride memes. You know what I mean? Like, I see it in the same vein as making fun of white people is in the same vein as like, saying, oh, fucking breeders. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something that you should ever take seriously, and that's precisely the reason why many people don't.
Okay. So, I've had a kind of argument, but I've been listening to the entire thing, by the way. I listened to the entire thing, I'm not kidding. Okay. So I know your point of view and where it comes from. Now, I'm gonna try to dumb it down, right? Because I think your general population, so you agree with me that people in general are stupid. I'm dumb because I'm your general population, quite literally your general population. Mm-hmm. And your average user, average person that communicates with one another in the world is pretty stupid or unknowledgeable or ignorant overall, right? Because yeah, so that your average Joe is dumb. So then, in my opinion, a lot of this is just overall. I want to dumb the whole decision down to root behavior, and I think that's the best way to do it. Because when I'm mad at somebody, right, I do a behavior. I'll say something or do something, right, and that'll be based on it's literally just a behavior. So if I see somebody does something, and let's say this person is a certain skin color, I'm molding at that point. I want to insult him. I say his skin color, right? That is the root negative behavior. Not me, but somebody. I'm just saying that as an example, like me, like, you know. So I think the root behavior of doing that to somebody, saying that to somebody, and dumbing them down or to their skin color is just a bad root behavior, and you shouldn't do it. So I can't justify doing it to white people or white colored skin because you can do it to everybody else. Because that is what you're trying to cause. That is what you're trying. That is what you mean. That's the root. The very nature of the behavior is a problem. Nobody, I think, most people that are out there interacting on social media or games or anywhere, nobody goes like, oh, this guy, I'm mad at this guy. You know what I'm gonna do? Well, in 1764, John Tennessee said this about rival, and Roger said this about. And nobody does that. That's not how they process that thought.
Obviously, I'm not describing this every time I say it. The reason why I'm explaining it because like you seem to be genuinely interested in understanding my position.
No, I definitely am.
Being like, oh, it's fucking bullshit.
Oh, I definitely get it.
That's the reason why I explained it. The reason why certain people do it, the reason why some people do it, I like to do it because it's funny, and I'm white, and I think it's hilarious when people go, oh, dude, what the fuck? I can't believe you're an anti-white racist when, you know, I'm fucking pastier than like 90% of the white dudes online who are getting upset at me over it. But the reason why it is not the same is for that historical context, because that attitude and growing up with that proximity to some level of privilege, which doesn't automatically mean you as a white person are going to be successful, by the way, I'm not saying that either, but that proximity to power defines your existence in some ways. It defines your social development, it defines your upbringing in ways that we often don't even recognize or see. And for that reason, it's not the same as like shitting on a marginalized community due to the color of their skin.
Fair enough.
Because there's historic precedence to like,
that makes sense. No, it actually does. So then let's say you have let's say randomly. Let's say then you have let's say somebody who's black, and then you get him accustomed and teach him. You know, it's funny to say haha lol white. So then they're in a classroom and they're having a discussion, and some guy does some dumb shit and he's white. He says haha white, and then everybody says that's funny because they were taught that it's funny. And then since he's taught that behavior, the root behavior is making fun of them based on skin color. Then he goes to the other group, right? And then he's with Asians, right? And then they sit down. The guy says something stupid and he's Asian. He says, haha, lol, Asian. Whoa! Wait a minute. How do you tell that person, yo, that you can't do that? You just taught them that it's okay. So what do you tell them now that it's not okay?
Well, I would first of all, one thing I gotta mention is that obviously different settings have different sets of boundaries and different things that are appropriate and inappropriate. I would say that a classroom setting is not one where you should be able to say, haha, cracker even. You know what I mean? Like, I think that is not acceptable because that's an educational setting, right? But, you know, if it's someone doing commentary,
workplace,
or like making a joke, or a workplace, another great example. I don't think that a workplace, it's appropriate in a workplace either. So, like, what we do as entertainers, I see as entirely different as far as the boundaries goes. And I'm not gonna I'm not making any of these fucking rules. You know what I mean? But I think that it's some places can self-regulate, and we often do that in the real world. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's perfectly So that's one thing.
Okay. So just before we get to the next point, then I would counter argue, just as a basis, just because these viewpoints, by the way, are very flexible. Like if I know something better, I'll adapt because I don't know any better. So my counter argument to that is that then you by default are making your everyday average person. You tell me they're smart enough to compute all of that, all these scenarios, and compute all that, and then make the right decision. Which basically, I think they're not. I think
yeah, which is why there are rules in the workplace, and that's why you're supposed to have it. It's like the kill yourself token thing, right? Like, I get why it's a terms of service violation to say it, and I think it's a good thing that it exists, right? I wouldn't necessarily say that for entertainment when it comes to anti-white humor in general, because of the historical precedent that I mentioned. Because ultimately, there is no historic discrimination associated with it. That's my point. Like, there isn't any historic discrimination or any sort of valid forms of structural oppression associated with being white. This does not mean that white people have it all set. Clearly not. I do believe that a homeless white person is in a worse position overall than Oprah Winfrey, a black billionaire woman. So
wait, say that one more time?
What's up?
Say that one more time?
I said that I'm just specifying that obviously white privilege does not automatically mean that you have a cheat code and that you're gonna absolutely get an upper hand and you're gonna be better than you're gonna be in a better financial predicament overall than every black person. That's stupid.
It's not every. There are stats you could probably use or something, but yeah, not every for sure. That's just.
Yeah, no, it's usually, it just means people in identical class positions or identical material conditions, in society, a black person and a white person, a black person oftentimes, at least there's studies that prove this, oftentimes a black person has worse second generation outcomes overall. Middle class black people's children do worse than middle class white people's children do. Or middle class black people have it a little bit worse off than middle class white people do. And there are structural forms of oppression for that. That's the reason for it. Okay. I hope I'm not confusing you with this.
I'm not really.
I can clarify it.
Fuck. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I just feel like it's a tough sell, in my opinion, to tell somebody I'm trying to see it empirically. So in a scenario where it applies in real life, it's a tough sell to tell people not to do something when you give them all the reasons and all the scenarios where they can. It's just hard. People won't, in my opinion, won't get it or adapt to that.
Yeah, but my job is to communicate what I believe and do it unapologetically. That's what I do. And that frustrates a lot of people, and I understand that. You know what I mean? So that is the reason why when I defend a certain position, I am quote unquote dying on that hill, because I'm not going to turn around and be no, actually, this is not the historical precedent. You know what I mean? Because I think it's valid that people understand the historical precedent and recognize that certain pejoratives are just pejoratives. They're mean, but they're not the same as reigniting or reinforcing structural forms of oppression like racism.
Shit. Yep. These are things I feel like overall, I think in general, it's it's a little bit like doing gamba and saying don't gamba, only do it if you're rich like me and you can afford it. It's like you show a broad behavior, right, that doesn't always apply, and you know you're doing that, and then you're kind of and then they're saying, oh, but in this scenario you can, this scenario you can. At that point, you're doing more bad than good.
Well, I do like gambling, and I have gambled with you. I have no issue gambling. That's a little bit different than like, you know,
I don't think that was the point.
And ultimately getting paid to do it, so that you know you're basically
but you're not doing it on stream, so I'm saying it.
Yeah, but also I'm not. You know.
And you're an entertainer, so I mean, this applies one-to-one to your normal example, okay, bro. Come on now.
It's about intent and impact, right? And I don't think the impact of like me explaining the historical references as to why, like, you know, a pejorative or making white people jokes is as bad as like any other marginalized community. I don't think the impact is as problematic or as bad, especially if you clarify it on top of that. Whereas across the board, getting people addicted to gambling is bad. I do think that. Not many do. I mean, not everyone does, but I think that.
Okay, wait. If you always have a justification for why you're doing racism, right? There'll always be an imbalance by default.
Okay,
and
but I don't think that it's the same though, regardless. Like, I think saying that, like making jokes about white people, for example, especially as a white person too, but making jokes about white people is like racism, when racism is like a very politically charged thing to say, is going back on all of the things that we just talked about as far as like historical precedents.
Historical precedents, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like then it's the same as like saying the N-word, for example. You know what I mean? That's what you're invoking when you say that, right?
What do you mean? Not I mean.
Because that's racist. Like it, like, or saying slurs about other marginalized identities.
And I don't think it's marginalized. They just skin color.
Okay.
I just feel like it's just one thing. I mean, yeah, you might say it is a weird hill to die on. I think if I make a comment that is diminishing somebody purely to their spawned-in skin color is bad. And regardless of historical thing, because then it's like, then it just kind of sucks, and I feel like it's that imbalance.
It's literally because like white people, especially in the Western world, have never been historically or in contemporary society oppressed on the virtue of the color of their skin, just like straight people in the Western world, especially, have never been oppressed historically on the virtue of what their sexuality is. This is why making straight people jokes, which are rare regardless, but making straight people jokes is not the same as saying the F word, for example.
I mean, it's not too uncommon, to be honest. I'm seeing a bunch of shit. I mean, listen, I think it's all bad.
Does that make sense to you, though? Do you understand the point I'm making there?
I get it, but then you're working yourself backwards, because then how do you justify when the imbalance, if the imbalance switches, how will you say, well, guys, listen, you guys, no more jokes of this kind, because now it's flipped, like, and then you have an endless cycle of hatred.
Well, then, okay, so structural forms of oppression turning like that are directly related to material conditions and socioeconomic conditions. So that's not happening anytime soon, or I don't think it will ever happen, really. Unless you do think that, like, white people, the concept of whiteness is no longer considered, like, proximity to power, and there's, like, an entirely different, you know, there's an entirely different political association, and, like, white people are being oppressed on the virtue of the...
Isn't that the same behavior that pretty much caused the whole thing? Is that, like, the roots kind of caused the problem? I feel like at that point it's like psychology, and you're kind of, like, working to not fix a problem.
Do you think making white people jokes is like taking power away from white people and actually?
No. I think regardless of the historical, why do people do that? I mean, I get it. It was probably purely based from the get-go of a skin color. That is the root thought behind it. So if you start doing that, then you're working against the solution.
What do you? I'm confused.
Quite literally. What? Okay, way back when, historically, if you think about it, right? What? Okay, people were racist. What was the difference between them and someone who was black? Skin color. Literally, quite literally. So you're working against a solution if you add all the historical shit because the psychology behind them doing it was purely skin color. Therefore, you're working against the solution at that point.
There is okay. So it's not just because people's skin color was a different color. That's why I gave you the example of like Irish people not being considered white, or Scottish people not being considered white, or Jewish people not being considered white, even though they had white skin color. That's why it's actually a political, like the whiteness as a concept is a political one for that reason, right? And it wasn't just like being mean to black people; it was actually enslaving.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Oh right? Yeah. I'm not gonna be oblivious to that.
It was a way. It was actually a quite evil but very clever way to justify the structural forms of oppression that black people were subjected to. Because if you consider black people to be human, then all of a sudden there was a moral conundrum of enslaving them, and that was the reason for why this concept started. And was totally normalized. It wasn't like because white people wanted to make jokes about black people. You know what I mean? That's why it's entirely different, because there's a structural form of oppression associated with that.
Okay. So then if we can use that as a solution, then what is it? What is the solution then?
With respect to what? Solution to what?
Just stop them doing that shit then.
To stop doing what? Like racism?
Yeah, just all of it then.
I think these are very, very deeply rooted fundamental issues that basically were at the core of like American existence and the way that this country was built. So undermining that or changing that is going to be incredibly difficult. But I'm a firm believer that like material restitution, money, giving money, some form of reparations program is a good way to start. Or a good way to start would be acknowledgements, I think.
Do you not think that to people, fuck, I mean, I'm not trying to be, I'm not trying to be canceled, I'm just saying like, oh shit, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what is the core concept and application of reparation. Because last time
different kinds of reparation. There's reparation for well, first of all, reparations were promised to black people, but were never given to black people. So the 40 acres and a mule thing. The government actually promised reparations to freed black people. In the aftermath of abolition, which actually never happened. They did give reparations, though. Both England and the United States of America have actually offered reparations. You want to know who they offered reparations to?
No.
White people. They gave white people reparations in the form of money for the dollar value for every black person that was forcibly freed from them. Like an asset.
Okay.
And England actually still to this day, I love people saying no amegalol. Like that is literally true. Like that is an objectively truthful historic fact. Oh my God. It's insane.
This guy's so fucking dog shit. Yeah.
Anyway, so there's there's different examples of this. Like historically, reparations have often been given not to the people that actually were supposed to get them, but instead those who were doing the enslaving. England still, I think, until like 2015, was literally paying some families involved in the fucking slave trade.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Here, yeah, it's called Compensated Emancipation. President Lincoln signed the District of Columbia Compensated Emancipation Act, which prohibited slavery in the district, forcing its 900-odd slave owners to free their slaves, with the federal government paying owners about $300, the equivalent of $9,000 in 2022 for each slave that they had freed.
Okay, so this is gonna be a really fucking bad take. Would you agree that back then most people would agree with that?
No, I don't think that most people would agree with that because
back then
there was a even back then because
wait, that wasn't a statement, that was literally a question. I'm just saying, like, just overall when things happen historically and another time, times are different, right? You cannot apply our current day and age beliefs and morals, whatever, to the ones back in the days. I mean, back in the days things were way different. Like what?
I agree. You're doing so. What you're talking about is like historical cultural relativism, right? So
yes,
what you're talking about is an understandable, it's an understandable perspective to have, but it's still incorrect because ultimately, no, I'm gonna explain to you why.
Okay. Wait, just to make sure we're on the same page. Just like, oh, dude, like conquering people and then colonizing. This guy, he gets a statue, right? I'm pretty sure at the time, probably more people agree with that because like he has a statue. Like people celebrated that shit. Even though today it's like bad.
And we do it to this day. We actually still do it. We still erect statues of conquerors that are probably, hopefully, going to be looked at as vicious, bloodthirsty murderers, maybe 100 years down the line. So you're not wrong. But that still happens. Like that is literally still currently happening, and there are plenty of people, like myself or others, who think no, those guys are actually in the wrong, and that's pretty fucked up that you built a statue of that guy. George W. Bush immediately comes to mind. You know what I mean? George W. Bush is a great example. There's Dick Cheney, George W. Bush, Henry Kissinger. Recently had a 100-year birthday. This motherfucker did genocide, and you know, a lot of people, even including those in the Biden administration, attended his 100th birthday.
Okay,
that guy's not a fucking hero, but he's been seen as one and has been celebrated as one.
What about the guy who made the
many generations?
Okay, what about something a little more blurry then? So the guy who made the atomic bomb. I mean, should he be celebrated?
I mean, that one is a little bit more different. We're talking about scientists now, like and it wasn't like one person. You know what I mean? And not only that, but like cooking something up in the fucking laboratory and then feeling, you know, and realizing until it's when it's far too late that it's like not good is a little bit different than like deliberately and actively engaging in genocide, knowing the consequences of such a thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a bit clear. Okay.
You know,
I think all that makes sense. So now continue on your what you were able to say about the British and the reparations thing.
That was what I was talking about is you know, the compensation for like the Compensated Emancipation Act that they did in the United States. The British did it as well. Haiti still to this day, I believe, pays money to France for recognition of its independence. But as far as historical relativism, when in American education, and perhaps in Canada as well, when they talk about slavery, they'll say, oh, well, there was robust debate on the issue of slavery amongst our founding fathers. But it actually was, but it was definitely a little bit more black and white than gray. And one example I love using is George Washington. He's presented in modern history as like this, you know, wonderful guy, but he owned a fuckload of slaves. And not only did he own a fuckload of slaves, but he also refused to free them. And
oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, okay. That's good because
he had a bunch of slaves. He refused to free them, and not only that, but also at the time there were laws where he lived in the states that he was in that actually had like slavery freedom laws. If you had slaves for over 6 months inside of the same state, you had to free them under the laws of Philadelphia, I believe. And what he would do is basically there were abolition laws.
Sorry, I leaked my old address. No. Sorry.
What?
I leaked my old address. I always do it when I buy stuff on Steam. Sorry, I got scared.
Yeah, what the fuck? Yeah, this.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Trust me, it doesn't matter. Trust me.
Okay, all right.
Otherwise, I would delete VOD. But I leaked it like I think 10 times this month. I'm good.
Okay. Well, what I was trying to say is that like, obviously, laws existed in the region to quite literally abolish slavery, right? Like they wanted, implying that like plenty of people, including lawmakers at the time, literally were like, no, this is a bad thing. Like we shouldn't do that. Okay. And George Washington knowingly would take his slaves out of the state and recycle them basically over that 6-month period.
To reset the fucking timer.
Yeah, in an effort to literally reset the timer.
Okay, so, dude. Diminishing returns scammer. I get it.
Yeah, so the existence of said laws, in my opinion, point to the reality that there were plenty of people that actually thought that this was truly immoral, but people in positions of power refused to give up a asset that they viewed as an asset at the time. The other part of this conversation is like whenever we talk about the debate, the robust debate over slavery's existence, is whether other countries had it or not. And obviously America was one of the last countries to abolish it. And also on top of that, the perspective of black people. Because black people at the time, I'm pretty sure, were not fond of being enslaved. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying.
That part is never discussed in the historical understanding of slavery. Whenever people say, well, there were a lot of issues, people were like debating it. They were having robust debates. It's still kind of fucked up.
Yeah, I can understand that. No, I mean, I do understand it. Yeah, I understand. Okay. Let's say that in 20 years or in 100 years, right? People figure out that hoarding money is absolute dog water and anti-human. Right?
Wait, what is anti-human and absolute dog water?
Hoarding money. Right?
Uh-huh.
And then you die, right? And your children,
awesome.
and you will die. 100%, you will die. And you know what?
Yeah.
I will die too. And then your child in school, and they read a book, and it says, Hassan, absolute busta bitch ass, had millions of dollars at his time of death. He was hoarding all that cash, and people are like, "Oh man!" And that's how you remembered it.
I love that.
Okay,
that would be fucking awesome. That would be fucking awesome.
Fair enough, bro. Then I rest my case. Then I rest my case.
What was it? I forget who said. I wish of a future society where I'm executed for being reactionary.
Makes sense.
Like,
okay, yeah, okay, I get that.
Like, where that means that like we have evolved dramatically. Like I don't have. First of all, I don't even plan on having any kind of like wealth accumulation, especially by the time I'm dead. But
why not? You're gonna give it all away?
Yeah, I mean, and not in like the fucking Bill Gates sense either. But it was.
What are you gonna do with your money before you die then?
What am I gonna do before I die?
No. Oh no, let's not talk about that then, because it's like, I was gonna ask like, what are you gonna do with all your juice,
Well, I mean, I think a lot of people don't really realize this, but I already put a lot of the juice into. Well, one, I buy like dumb shit, obviously, because I like that. I think it's perfectly normal. Contrary to popular opinion, I don't have an issue with like buying expensive shit, obviously within the bounds of reason. But secondly, I give it away a lot of times, like a lot of it. So that's what I continue to plan on doing.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. 100%. Yeah.
You can cap all you want, chatters in the XUC community. I mean, whatever.
They say the dumbest shit, bro. They know what happened with my will anyway.
Yeah, no, I don't give a fuck. Hey, my conscience is clear. I don't give a shit.
No. This chat will go against anything it put on screen, okay?
No, I know.
Yeah, it's just kind of how it goes. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, that's about all the topics that I had in store. For the, I think because I think I'm gonna go ahead and last thing, writer's strike. Why are these busters complaining like some hoes with a skill issue? write better fucking scripts, get better shows, they get paid more, brokey. What the fuck is the problem?
No, that's actually literally not true. So Big Bang Theory fucking sucks, right? Do you like Big Bang Theory? One of the most popular shows of all time, right? Like, our tastes are not exactly the same as like how much money they're making. In a lot of circumstances, writers are writing what like, we have this romanticized idea that like writers are writing something because it's their like, you know, project, like it's their baby, you know what I mean? When in fact, it's like executives are like, oh, this is something that we need to hit. This is a market that we need to hit. So, it's not, with writers, it's not even about like, you know, they're writing like shit and want more money. It's more so, they've already generated that value. They wrote the fucking stuff, and it's making a shitload of money, and they're not getting any of it, especially when it comes to streaming platforms. That's the problem. It's a very common misunderstanding, though. Like it's perfectly normal to.
Oh, I dramatize different views, but I don't really actually think it's exactly what I just said. I mean, I was just trolling about what I just said earlier. I don't believe that, but I believe that like, I feel like that's at the same time, the market is so fucking competitive overall that like now people are fighting for everything for like the to get their stuff exclusive or like fucking everybody's fighting for the fucking content, right? Like before it was only Netflix, and now everybody's fighting super hard. And now I think it's gotten a lot of companies should like lose out on a lot of money, and then now they have to fight. So of course now they're gonna probably like I'm guessing they're probably gonna be reeling back on a bunch of other plans that they had for paying for people if they're getting clapped a lot now, so they have to rebudget. Right?
Yeah, it's more so about like profits, right? And how much of that is going where. Unfortunately, companies like are mismanaging, mismanaging however much value they're generating, or oftentimes they're just getting a fuckload from VCs and whatnot. And now that time is changing a little bit with interest rates.
I mean, like streaming, yeah, like Twitch and whatever. That's
yeah, exactly. But like ultimately, Twitch is a great example, as a matter of
fact.
It's great,
right? Yeah, it is.
Twitch is a great example of this. Like, you're a content creator, Twitch comes to you and says, actually, yesterday you were getting fucking, let's say 70% of the subscriptions. Now we're going to take that and we're going to only give you fucking 50% of your subscriptions. Well, you're like, well, what the fuck? Like, I'm still doing the same work, and now you just want more money from me. It's a lot like that, in the sense that these guys are literally making the product. The product itself is generating money, but they're not getting paid evenly off of the value that they're creating. That's what the issue is. That's at the heart of this contention, this argument with respect to labor unions.
And how bad is it?
How bad is what?
I mean, on paper they said that wasn't even the problem. I saw a video. They said they're not even the problem. They said that basically it's just because they're getting less work because series are smaller, no ads and whatnot. So is it because there's less work?
No, it's not even less work. It's the way that they structure it on purpose. So studios, just like Twitch in this regard, are constantly looking for new ways to basically squeeze more profits, right? And if you can't and unfortunately, marketing and finding new audiences is very expensive. And it's not always going to work, Maybe you don't have money to do the marketing. Maybe you don't want to fucking put the effort in, right?
Yeah.
So they, instead of doing that kind of stuff, like Twitch, instead of marketing to broader audiences or finding new ways of monetization or creating new ad products, for example, that are more interesting and unique, or figuring out the problem with discoverability. Like, instead of doing any of that shit, they do the easy route,
which is
like a hack. Go back to the people that are generating the value and take some of their value. So that's exactly what studios do as well. Studios have figured out that they can get away with, newer ways, get away with like more innovative ways of like shortening the time period of like writing.
What if what if there's no way out?
What do you mean?
What if there's no solution to the problem?
What? There is a solution to the problem.
There is?
Yeah, I think that a better solution to the problem is, like, how Twitch listened to the content creators? Or I guess,
nope.
Listen to the content creators? and we're like, oh yeah, this was a bad idea for our advertising initiative, we're not going to do it.
Well, I mean, I'm honest with you. Here's a hot take. They weren't wrong. YouTube has that. Everybody has that. It's an industry standard. It's just that something.
No, I know, but no one follows it, and I think that they basically put it in there so that they can use it down the line.
Oh, I thought they did that so they're not legally liable if shit goes wrong.
Yeah, I think they put it in there so that they're not legally liable when they, again, use that down the line when they want to take away fucking someone's like ad revenue, or decide that like someone can't actually work with like a third-party ad network. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
I think that makes sense. Yeah.
So I think that's, yeah, it is the real reason why they put it in there is because every terms of service has it. It still doesn't make sense though, because like I feel weirded out by it, because like, you know how in the TOS there were new stuff as well, like you know, the non-exclusivity coming back, or the exclusivity coming back.
Well, that's just stupid. That's short-sighted.
Yeah, but notice how they didn't actually put graphics next to that, and that's why a lot of people didn't even notice it at first, and that's why a lot of people didn't even think about it at first, and everybody hyper-focused on the graphics and the advertisement changes that were happening. I think the reason why everyone was talking about it is because they basically wanted this change to happen with the advertisement on the advertisement side, and it wasn't just like a legal consideration, because why would they have it be so public facing with like graphics and shit to like understand it? They would have just hidden it in legal writing, similar to like the simulcasting decision that they made, or the $25 affiliate termination fee that they made. They would have just hidden that as well.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. Sometimes people I think are like oversimplifying like a lot of problems, and misinformation is really like bad. Especially that day, people did not get it at all. Like they, maybe somebody can explain why Google had this rule initially, or other services. Why did they have this like a law or TOS where
they can get away with it? Like they can use it down the line, and there's probably some valid reasons for it too. If there's like some kind of like malicious ad tech or whatever that's like automatically you know, placing ads in their system. But I think it's mostly competition. It's a way to try and eliminate competition. They want to be the ones who are selling the ads, YouTube AdSense, and they don't want others to fucking sell ads against the advertisement inventory that they're selling.
Okay, I genuinely thought this was something that they would do overall to not be liable. If, let's say, there are people that sell ads on the site that makes people money for all the creators, one day some guy makes an ad on burned in that's really dog shit, and then the ads are serving, let's say Coke is like, yo dude, you're a guy, you advertise our Coke shit on this, here's making a video about some really stupid shit, and he has an ad on it for a competing product, like, you know, and then they would be like, well, we have a rule that says don't burn in. So then now they're chilling.
Yeah, I get it. Like let's say there's a Chipotle sponsorship that they sold, and Chipotle bought ads against your channel, and let's say you already have like a burned-in ad for McDonald's on your fucking channel.
Yep.
Chipotle sees that and goes, "What the fuck? This guy already has."
And then
McDonald's
they sue him for $1 billion.
Yeah, I think that's probably part of the reason why, you know, in order to combat that. You're not wrong about that.
Okay, fair enough. Then I have no more questions, Your Honor.
It's actually a pretty smart assessment. Like,
thanks.
Straight up.
Yeah, because I said
Subway, not McDonald's.
Because I sat down and I had to think about this shit, you know? Like, I genuinely had to think, because I was like, why? Why would that be a thing? Yeah, that's about it. It's about all the topics that we got today on this debunking the dog shit.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Oh yeah.
I hope it was productive.
How are we able to watch clips of Kick on? I'm not even trying to snitch on you, because if you did, it's been over.
Wait, why wouldn't we be able to?
Because they're banned people on the screen.
Wait, what is on the screen?
Banned people.
Is Aiden Ross banned? I don't even fucking know.
Alright.
Is he banned currently? I actually legitimately don't know. Is he still banned?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean,
I'm not. I'm not snitching.
Here's the thing. I thought like I remember having this entire fucking conversation when the DDG shit was happening, and they were like, "Oh, you're a snitch." So it doesn't really matter. I think you and I both know that. Like, it's the restrictions are vague on purpose, right? Where like
so
it's situational. Like if I'm sitting there and like, you know, in a Discord call with Aiden, then obviously I would get banned for that. If I'm watching one clip of Aiden saying, you know, Hassan kill yourself, or if I'm doing commentary on Aiden, for example, when he's like trying to do like copyright shit, that he's not making up the majority of the conversation, or at least the conversation is like about a broader subject matter. So I think that is that's the reason why it's fine. I mean, like Destiny's banned, right?
Yep.
But he was on a clip that I was watching when him and Melina were owning these fucking weirdo podcasters, right? The whatever podcast or whatever the fuck it is. And, you know, it's not like he's not the main person that is shown on the screen at all. It was just a clip that he happened to be in, and it would be impossible to enforce that. And it would be also kind of stupid to enforce the rules that aggressively, which is why you just kind of go along with it. You just.
Yeah, I mean, I
go overboard.
I mean, people got clapped. I said people getting clapped. I said, and then I saw that and I was like, what the fuck? And I was trying to, so I let it happen for weeks. And it made me mauled.
I still think it's fucking ridiculous when people get clapped for it, unless they're like literally fucking. I mean, even collaborating with them, depending on what kind of band it is like stupid. Like, you should be able to collaborate with, like, you know, unless it's someone who's like perma-banned for like really awful shit, you know, and we all know some people like that. It's ridiculous that there is like a rule that states that you can't even fucking like you have to just like act like they don't exist.
People will flex that rule. I think they made it clear, very black and white. So people don't do banned people harboring. Like, finding a way to ban evade it.
Like a 1-day suspension, like Miski got fucking banned for 24 hours because he violated copyright and he got clapped while he was like literally watching a show, right? And when that happens live, you get clapped for 24 hours, sometimes it's 48 hours. So like, if you were watching a video with Miskif in it and then you got banned for it, that'd be fucking ridiculous. Like, that's what I mean. It's like stupid. That would be silly. In comparison to someone who's like permanently banned.
All right, now this all makes sense, yeah.
For good reason, and not just like, because like when Donald Trump was banned on Twitch while I was doing political commentary back in 2020, I still watched all of the Donald Trump shit, and it would have been fucking wild if Twitch banned me for it.
Yeah, I don't know why it was banned anyway. Why did they do that?
I forget. I think it was like some racist shit he said in one of his rallies. I think that he was live streaming on Twitch at the time.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. I like to be a fence sitter because I like to make fun of everybody. So a lot of times on these topics, I like to call hypocrisy when they ban people. They are like super hardcore, like white knight to save the world about some issues or some people, and the other people run rampant. And it's like, dude, like, I don't give a fuck that you're gonna ban this guy. Why don't you ban all the other guys then? Then just clap all of them. I don't.
Yeah, it's marketing. I think Twitch banning Donald Trump was marketing.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
But I make fun of both sides as well. I mean, I'm not sitting on a fence, but I still shit on, you know, I shit on people on the left all the time. That's why there's so many fucking mentally ill people on Twitter that love, you know, going Hassan is a bad guy. He's not a real leftist. And it's not just right-wingers who say that. There's plenty of fucking people who are libs and leftists who say it too, because, you know, I'm shitting on everybody. Bro, you're gonna get fucking banned for BM.
What? You're reading my shit then.
What the fuck? That's toxic. You're teaching your chat to be toxic.
Jesus, bro. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
What did you say?
Is there anything else you want to talk about? Oh, do you have any questions?
Not really.
That was good though. That was good. I appreciate that you taught me about some stuff. Some stuff I didn't know about that.
Yeah. No problem, man. This was great.
It also always good.
All right. Peace, brother.
Peace, man. Maybe I'll be back in California soon or one day.
All right. When you come back to LA.
Perhaps, yep. Hi, man.
All right.
Take care, brother.
All right, you too, brother. Have fun.
You too, man. Oh no. Oh no! Ah! Okay, bitches! Yo! I didn't know I was just going! Oh, sorry, I didn't think about what I was gonna say. Alright, okay. Alright, bro. Alright, bro.